Before proceeding further, I recollect a sentence from a quotation from Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer. He said in his book, Law and Life, tears shed for the accused are traditional. Tears shed for the accused are traditional and trendy, but has the law none for the victim of crime, the unknown martyrs. He calls the victim as unknown martyrs, and there is no law. At that point of time, there was no law as such. For every crime committed, there are three victims. One is society at large, because society wants its laws to be followed. State wants its laws to be followed. Society and state are the same, one and the same. So society wants the law should be followed. Society wants there should be law and order in the society. There should be peace in the society, and therefore the society is the first victim of crime. Number two, second victim is the victim who is actually undergone the pain and suffering. Person who is assaulted, the primary victim, he is the victim. He is the second victim of the crime. Number three, dependents of the victim. Dependents of the victim. Once a victim, well, suppose if a person dies in the murder, dies in the crime, etc., ultimately his family, his dependents would become victims. Maybe a person may be a sole bread earner. If he is murdered, then what should happen to the young children, unmarried daughters, married daughters? What should happen to the wife, widow, etc.? These are all the dependents of the victim is the third category. Even assuming a sole bread earner loses his legs, lower limbs or upper limbs, whatever it may be, then he will lose his job also. Virtually he will lose his job also. Then again the dependents will suffer. Though the victim is alive, the victim will suffer, the dependent. So this is the third category of victims. Dear friends, nowadays this criminal process over the time has become accused-centric. Will penalize the society or wants to penalize the accused for wrong committed to ensure that this acts as a deterrent for future offenders. But the system actually loses sight of the primary victim or secondary victim, that is the victim personal, the actual person of the victim or another dependents. Unlike in civil cases where the central function of the law is not to punish anybody, in civil law we want to give justice to the person who needs justice. That is civil law. We will not punish anybody. The person who wants justice comes to court, and who deserves justice gets the justice. In civil law, criminal law will not. But unlike in criminal cases, there is no avenue to protect the victims, though he has suffered. The unprotected class would continue to suffer because of the aftershocks of the incident that are subjected day after day. The decision to protect, decision to prosecute is generally taken by the state. The accused role in such matters is to lodge a complaint. Suppose a complaint is lodged, then the investigation officer, who is the official of the state, investigates into the crime. And accused has no role or very little role totally the state authority who conduct investigation. In some of the cases where accused are very, very strong and influential, the things may turn in a different manner altogether. Therefore, friends, maximum, as I study, as I know, the role of the victim is confined to 4 or 5 subjects. One is lodging of complaints or the trust information. Number 2, he can choose his advocate of his choice and he will request the court to provide him an opportunity to assist the public prosecutor. At the most, he can appoint an advocate and that advocate will assist the public prosecutor. Ultimately, the trial is conducted by public prosecutor. Number 3, if the decision goes against the victim, maybe either against the acquittal or against the lesser punishment, etc., appeal can be filed by the accused nowadays because of the amendment to Criminal Procedure Code. That is 372. What is the use of filing the appeal? Since the trial, the investigation is conducted by the third party and the trial is conducted by the third party. Advocate who is sitting by the side of who is assisting the public prosecutor may say that this question should be asked, this question should be asked, and thus the public prosecutor may use wisdom if it does not ask. If it does not, he should request the advocate for the accused. What is the use of appointing an advocate and what is the use of filing the appeal? Because during the investigation, he doesn't have any say. During the trial, he has got very less say. If the material is not collected during the course of investigation and the trial in a proper manner, then what is the use of filing the appeal? Appeal also will be dismissed at the stage of admission itself. Therefore, friends, ultimately, as you know, under 225, the trial should be conducted by public prosecutor. Number 4, he can oppose grant of bail or he can file appeal against the grant of bail. He can file objections to the grant of bail, etc. Again, if you see thoroughly, what is the use? Again, this problem also is there. The bail will be, application will be decided again based on the material collected during the course of investigation. Public prosecutor, the judge will ask, whenever an application is filed by the victim to cancel the bail or file an appeal against the grant of bail, etc., then the judge will ask the public prosecutor to get the records and the records are seen. The records are again the investigation records. Again, the court will be satisfied that the order of the trial, the court below is just and proper. At the most, he will have an opportunity to approach some authority, some higher authority, that's all, except that nothing more. Ultimately, result will be almost 99% zero. And this is the same with the cancellation, etc. But the victim has got certain protections under CRPC, particularly women victims. The woman is entitled to give statement to a female officer in a safe place is one safeguard. And number 2, the statements under section 161 and 164 CRPC are recorded audio-visually for the ladies. Number 3, under further special enactments like POCSO, etc., ensure that the victim never comes in face to face with the accused. However, even these provisions really do not reflect an active role to secure the outcomes of the victim. Because most of the victims, as you know, in our society, most of the victims, the crimes are committed on the lower strata, generally, and victims are always poor and uneducated. Therefore, the victim should know as to what is written there, what is not written there. Of course, nowadays there is one provision, audio-visual recording of statements. That may protect to a certain extent so as girls are concerned, lady victims are concerned, lady witnesses are concerned. But mere procedural safeguards, whether they actually safeguard the real interest of the victim, is the big question. Now, looking to the impact on certain victims, particularly, I'll take 4 or 5 examples: sexual offences and trauma. The victim of sexual offences. In our society in India, once a sexual crime is committed, there is always immediate and direct negative impact on the victim as well as on her family. The people start behaving towards their family as if the victim has committed fault. There will be quality of life of the victim's family will be diminished, and there will be reduced prospects of marriage, increased feeling of insecurity, and self-blaming of the victim. Ultimately, even the family members may blame the victim herself. Some of the societies will start suspecting the victim, lady victim. And economic costs are directly attributable to sexual assault in manner. It involves medical treatment, social services, judicial services, counseling sessions, and in some cases education, employment, and personal costs, etc. Who will bear these costs? Immediately after the incident, I am saying, who will bear these costs? And these costs are magnified in child abuse cases. Nowadays, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I don't know, see the plight of the child, see the plight of the family. It affects the entire development process of the child and carries forward into adulthood. See, it will suffer even as an adult. Now, Supreme Court, in the case of Nipum Saxena, 2012, recently, in 2018, approved the scheme on victim compensation for survivors of sexual assault and acid attack, 2018, drafted by NALSA, and has directed the government to modify it such that it also covers the victims of child sexual abuse. Nowadays, some steps are being taken to protect child sexual abuse, acid attack, and survivors of sexual assault. But ultimately, immediate costs are needed for medical examination. The child is taken or the victim girl is taken immediately after the incident for the purpose of what? Medical examination, for their investigation. Understand? Whether the child or the victim is really abused or not. They will take to the doctor and doctor will examine in 1 hour or 2 hours and close. Her topic is closed. Who will give the treatment next is the question. What should happen to the family? What should happen to the litigation costs? What should happen to medical treatment, judicial services, counseling sessions, etc. Nowadays, advocates are charging more, and who will pay the fees for them to support the victims? And this pro bono advocates will come into picture only when the matter comes to the court. Generally, you must have seen in all these acid attack cases, the victims are girls. And the place they choose for acid attack is front, that is face. Throw the acid and go. The victim will not die. Victim will survive, no problem. But the face will be disfigured. Her body, mainly the upper portion, will be disfigured. In such cases, immediately after the incident, again the complaint will go on, same thing. She will go to a doctor, and 1 or 2 days, 5 days, they will keep, and ultimately the girl, nowadays, as you know, this is the days of competition. In private sector, even if that girl who has suffered acid attack is intelligent, let us assume she is intelligent and fit for the job, but still she is not taken because of competition. First of all, saving her life itself is a big task. For that, cost is needed. For her studies, we will pay. Number 3, she may become blind also, she may become deaf also, she may go mad also. Her family will suffer. And immediately after the incident, and she may have to undergo the plastic surgery. Plastic surgery, you know, the cost 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs. According to me, the victim will never resume her normal social life. Her own friends will deny her access to her friendship. And on the other hand, in such cases, POCSO, etc., sexual as well as the acid attack cases, in all these cases, serious offences cases, the accused may come out on bail. But that lady would suffer throughout life. In some of the cases, nowadays in our society, we must have seen some TV, etc. Accused is glorified. Whenever he is released on bail, whenever he is acquitted, or whenever he comes out of bail, he is taken on procession. He is a hero. Immediately he becomes hero. Is it possible to give the victim the normal life back immediately after the incident? It is impossible so far as physical torture is concerned or disfiguration is concerned. We can help them maximum financially, but where is the provision now? Immediately after the incident. The trial will take place after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It all depends upon case-to-case basis. It may take within 6 months also, 1 year also. But immediately after the incident, it's very, very difficult to get the compensation. And the plight of the sole breadwinner, I have already said that it's also torturous. Virtually the entire family will be ruined. Now, our hard-earned money, if they do not keep in bank, and the gold, particularly the ladies, they will purchase, nowadays hobby is to purchase gold, because that's why these big shops have come out. And they will keep everything in the locker, inside the gold. They will not wear it, they will keep inside, they want it. If you ask them, safety. If the house is subjected to robbery or dacoity, entire amount is out. He is ruined, virtually is ruined. If recovery is made by the police, if it is 20 to 30%, only that much amount he will get. If the recovery is not made, that also is gone. And most of the dacoits are committed during night. And they will be with mask. They will hide their identity. They come to the houses and commit dacoity and go. You can't recognize them. During the course of investigation, the victim's statement will be recorded, and the victim would say, the lady would say, or the man would say, that they were Hindi speaking, they were Hindi speaking, or Telugu speaking, or Kannada speaking, but they were of a different area, like that. Except that, nothing. So So again, the equity rate will be more so far as the aquatic cases are concerned. This is the hard reality, because ultimately the defense would take the loopholes of law. It is natural for them. Then even in matrimonial and domestic violence cases, the same problem arises. We may have seen some of the ladies going mad, and nowadays the family matters are being fought very, very vigorously, very, very vigorously. Actually, in that family matter, child is the victim. The physical and sexual abuse can cause short-term, long-term, and permanent injuries, and it may cause range of health, mental health issues like lack of confidence, oppression, depression, extreme anxiety, alcoholism, and substance abuse. It may lead to substance abuse also. I have seen some of the cases, and they may even drive a person to self-harm or suicide. One more victim would be accused himself would be a victim at some point of time because of false prosecution and social stigma. And one more I have forgotten, cyber crimes. Cyber crimes, now they will hack the accounts and take away the entire money. Overnight, the entire amount, even if it is kept in bank, goes. And they're all done by some Nigerians, this, that, etc. I don't know how they do, but they do. In some of the matters I was telling, in cyber crimes particularly, when I was addressing the law school here, see, in cyber crimes, none of us are experts. Investigation officer is not the expert. He is a police officer with some BA, B.S.C, MA degree. He is not expert in cyber crime. Then comes public prosecutor. He is also not. Our friend will be there, LLB. And defense, he is also, who are the defense or public prosecutor, we are also not experts in that cyber crime. Judge is also. Yeah, he is also from this side to this side. That's all, except that I am also not expert in the cyber crime. Then who is expert? Accused is the expert. Expert is that fellow. Only he knows as to how he has committed the fault and how to come out of the fault. That is the problem. We are all the victims of cyber crimes. False prosecution and social stigma. False prosecution is nowadays more. They will lodge the complaint for lodging the complaint purpose. In some of the cases, accused or convicted turns out to be the actual victim because of the false prosecution. So, once the prosecution is lodged, once the complaint is lodged, particularly in the service sector, if A is to be promoted, the complaint will be lodged against him. That he is a corrupt fellow, he has taken this much amount, that much amount, he should not be promoted. And it will be made a hype in the society, and therefore in TV it will appear, in papers it will appear, and ultimately he and his family are lost. In one of the cases, Hardeep Singh versus Madhya Pradesh, 2012 one CC, in that the appellant, the accused was running he was acquitted by the trial court and confirmed by the High Court, it came to Supreme Court. And the accused was running a coaching center, and the allegation that he asked money to leak the question papers. That was the allegation. And ultimately the Supreme Court confirmed the order of acquittal and found that he is falsely prosecuted. And some compensation is awarded. The High Court had awarded 70,000, but the Supreme Court had awarded 2 lakhs. In the Supreme Court, in the ISRO Trust file case, they gave about 50 lakhs or something like that, and given option to him to go to civil court if he wants more. So these are the violation of fundamental rights. Now the law is yet to be developed so far as violation of fundamental rights are concerned, but the courts are granting compensation so far as violation is concerned only with regard to illegal custody. Article 21. If it is violation of Article 21, then generally it is done. But so far as other violation of only fundamental rights are concerned, law is yet to be developed. In some of the, I will give some brief quotations from the Supreme Court. There are very interesting quotations are there in the Supreme Court. Nirmal Singh Kilon versus State of Punjab 2009, the Apex Court observed that the right to fair investigation trial is applicable to the accused as well as the victim. And such right to a victim is provided under Article 21 of the Constitution. But in reality, the criminal justice process, in the criminal process, the victim is the forgotten party. Though we say that the victim also should be taken into account in the course of the investigation, but no, we are concentrating only on the accused. I am not saying that the accused should be ignored, no. I know the basic principle that the accused is deemed to be innocent till the guilt is proved. That can't be denied at all. I am not on that point at all. At least the victim also should be brought on par with the accused. On par with the accused. So far as treatment is concerned, during the course of criminal trial, some reformation, maybe it's a reformation, rehabilitation, like that. Now, in Maruram versus Union of India, the courts have observed that while observing the problem of penology, which is the study of penal action to the crime committed, the court should not overlook the victimology, the study of suffering of the victim. But the victim who is outside the jail, no care is taken. No care is taken. The person who is inside the jail and who has committed fraud crime is taken care of. We want to give him good food, we want to give him good clean bed, we want to give him all facilities, etc., medical treatment, everything. And take care of the state will take care of his litigation expenses. The poor fellow who has suffered the crime, who is outside the jail, except that he is outside the jail, but he is nowhere to be seen in the picture at all in this criminal justice system. Once the investigation is over, that victim is also over, and he will be brought to the court only during the course of trial whenever his evidence is needed. There is one interesting case of High Court of State of Gujarat versus High Court of Gujarat. In that, the court has observed the court cannot forget the victim and his family in case of death or incapacitation because the offences are committed by the convict. In that case, the court gave a direction to compensate the victim from out of the earnings earned by the accused, because the accused on that case was very poor. He did not have any money. So, and at that point of time, this 357 business was not, 357A, etc. was not there. And the court directed that the amounts earned by the accused during his custody in jail should be given to victim. But how much amount he will be earning? He will be getting very small amount. They are getting about 10 rupees or 15 rupees per day, accused. Therefore, only that much amount will go to victim, even if such a way. But one more problem would be there, according to me, Article 300, Article 300 of the Constitution, because there they say property of the person to be protected. That is the article, and therefore, if it is the property of the accused, it should be protected so far as he is concerned, unless he diverts himself. And the moot question is whether the court can pass orders to divert that fund. But that is the solitary judgment which I got on that point. Now, current legal system is this. So far as, let us assume accident takes place. Two things occur. One is a first information is lodged or complaint will go lodged, and second is he will go to, this victim will go to MACT, Motor Accident Claims Tribunal, for claiming compensation. But that's one in civil side, one in criminal side. So both sides, such crimes may provide you remedies. quantification of the compensation is more systematic because law is well developed and as per that Supreme Court's guidelines, the compensation will be granted. Maybe 7 lakh, 8 lakhs, whatever it may be. So perhaps injuries are concerned, this injury, that injury, simple injury, death, etc., etc. So more systematic way the compensation is granted on the civil side. But in the criminal side, nothing happens. If the murder takes place, 302, if it takes place, there also he loses his death. In the accident also he loses his death, but he gets compensation there. Whereas this 302 is the more grievous offence, heinous murder, heinous offence. But still, generally, unless the court says that you can go to civil court, etc., etc., or even assuming that if he goes and he will take longer time, he will go to civil court and the compensation is awarded, it may be less also. It may not be on par with the motor accidents claim because there is more systematic. And similarly, in Railways Act, you will get compensation, both sides. With the sense, you will civil side also you may get compensation, domestic violence side, Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes Act, Protection of Human Rights Act, etc. And the probation of offenders. All these things, you may get some compensation on civil side. But the criminal side, this side, if the crimes are committed, you will not get compensation at all. Now, so far as monetary compensation is concerned, the only provision which is now available in the Criminal Procedure Code is 357. As you know, 357, 357A, B, C, D, etc. Only these are the 357 and branches of 357. Except that nothing more is there. And under 357A, the state will create a fund because that judgment was passed by the Law Commission recommended for that, and ultimately judgment was passed and central government has accepted, and the other state governments have, all the state governments, almost all state governments have accepted, and they have created a fund, victim compensation fund. But if you see that compensation which is to be awarded, it's very, very meager, very meager. In acid attack case, if I remember correctly, it was, Karnataka is concerned, it was 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs. Now I don't know whether it is enhanced or not. Now 5 lakhs. Acid attack 5 lakhs. The state grants you 5 lakhs. That too after trial. The court should direct it. Immediately after the accident, if the application is filed to the state, ex gratia, I don't know if it is done, no problem at all. Otherwise, they will have to wait till the decision of the court. And rape cases 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, like that. Death 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs. And grievous offences 1 lakh, simple offences and hurt burning. If a poor man loses his hurt, he gets 10 to 20,000 rupees. He will not get even a thatched-roof house from that amount. Therefore, friends, the compensation is created. Some compensation is created now. That is the only relief which is granted now under the Criminal Procedure Code. This imposition of compensation or awarding of compensation is not in addition, is not ancillary or not in the place of the sentence. It should not take the place of sentence, but it is in addition to the sentence. Understand? Whatever sentence you want to impose, you can impose sentence, but compensation is concerned, you can add compensation subsequent thereto. In one of the cases, Madhya Pradesh High Court, in a rape case, awarded 2 years imprisonment and some compensation of 5 lakhs or something like that, and the judge passed an order that since he is ready to pay a huge amount, in those days it was a huge amount, maybe a huge amount of 5 lakhs, the sentence is reduced to 2 years. Supreme Court sets aside that order and says that it's in addition to, therefore, the punishment was restored, the sentence of about 5 years or 10 years was restored, plus compensation of rupees or so. Therefore, it is not in ancillary, but it's addition to the compensation, main compensation. But in most of the cases, as a judge, I find that whenever the appeals are filed, I find through the judgments of the trial courts and the high courts that they are not imposing compensation, even if the case deserves imposition of compensation or awarding compensation. In most of the cases, see, I have also seen some of the cases where the murders are taken place for 2 cigarettes, 1 coffee, 2 idlis, like that. Poor people are involved. Therefore, the accused may not be in a position to pay the compensation even if you impose. Even if you impose compensation, they may not be in a position to pay. But what is the use of imposing compensation? Therefore, in such circumstances, the court may impose costs which has no limit at all. Which has no limit at all. Understand? You need not worry about that 357A and the chart. If it is there, it is there. Otherwise, you can impose and direct the state to pay. Nothing wrong in it, because it's ultimately the judicial verdict. It does not mean that whenever there is no the victim does not deserve, you should pay the compensation. Because advocate general is there, he may take objection to that. The compensation generally should be commensurate with the paying capacity of the accused, and if the accused is not in a position to pay, it should be commensurate with the crime itself. Therefore, friendship should be reasonable, and in other words, it should be reasonable. But in reality, I find even in murder cases, they impose 5,000, 10,000. Even this is a hard reality even now. Even now, the people they impose only 5,000, 10,000, not more than 5,000, 10,000. So it's very difficult to convince the people to impose more compensation, because ultimately the victim will be nowhere. He will not get anything. Merely because the accused is sent to jail, he will not get real justice. One thing he got, society got justice because the accused is sent to jail. What should happen to the victim, primary victim and the dependent victim? Society got justice. Society wants him to go to jail, he went to jail. But so far as victim is concerned, in the rape case, victim is concerned, nothing will happen to him. Therefore, impose punishment, what is wrong in it, if it deserves, really deserves. And nowadays, because of 357B or something like that, even if the accused is not convicted, suppose if the accused is absconding, even then you can impose compensation on the victim immediately after because some of the accused are absconding for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and our conviction rate is about 15 to 20%. In most of the cases, they are acquitted. Even then, you may impose compensation. The judicial officers and for the information of the victim of judicial officers, and even the public prosecutors may assist the court on that subject. According to me, this Article 41 of the Constitution, all these laws, etc., will take support from Article 41 of the Constitution. I read that Article 41. The state shall, within its limits of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, to education, and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness, and disablement, and in other cases of undeserved want. These are all cases which come under cases of undeserved want. I did not deserve it, but I still suffer the crime. I suffer the crime. Therefore, these are all the other cases of undeserved want. And this 357, etc., they take support from Article 41. Now, coming to other jurisdictions of other states, other countries, Nations Declaration. In 1985, United Nations adopted the Declaration of Basic Principles of Justice for Victims of Crime and Abuse of Power. It has recognized 4 types of rights and entitlements of the victim of the crime. They are: 1, UN has recognized these 4. Access to justice and fair treatment, which includes prompt redress and right to be informed of benefits and entitlements under law, right to necessary support services throughout the proceedings, and right to protection of privacy and safety. This is vast. The UN wants, the United Nations wants us. Number 2, right to restitution, return of property lost or payment of any harm or loss suffered by any result of the crime. Number 3, compensation when compensation is not fully available to the offender from other sources. The state should provide. This is the 3, that is the 357. Number 4, personal assistance and support services, which includes material, medical, psychological and social assistance through government, voluntary and community-based machineries. So these are the 4 victims which are to be taken care of, and they have given these guidelines. And ultimately it is clarified like this: when the compensation is not fully available from the offender and other sources, the state should endeavor to provide financial assistance to victims who have sustained significant bodily injury or impairment. Number 2, family, or in particular the dependents. The same thing which I had narrated earlier. They are now coming to United Kingdom, UK. They have enacted Criminal Injuries Compensation Act. They have a separate enactment altogether. Criminal Injuries Compensation Act in 1995. This was the victimology is developing after 1975. We are better than the other countries because we started imposing compensation after 1977-78 itself, the Indian courts. UK, they have passed a resolution enactment in 1995. In 2001, in a report on criminal justice and the way ahead, the Home Department, UK Home Department, found that many victims felt that the rights of the accused of the crime take precedence over theirs in criminal proceedings. UK report, they recommended, ultimately the UK has recommended the 5 things. One is to legislate to entitle victims to information about the release and management of the affairs and progress of the cases. This is very important. In India also it should be done. Legislate. There should be some legislation to entitle victims to information about the release and management of the offenders and progress of their cases. Number 2, enable the victims to submit a victim personal statement to the courts, setting out the effect of the crime on their lives. Immediately after the crime, the victim's statement would be furnished to the court. The personal statement would be furnished to the state as to how he has suffered, what is her family background, how much amount may be needed, what is the assistance she needs or he needs from the court, etc. That victim statement will be provided. In UK it is done. Number 3, introduce measures to protect vulnerable victims and witnesses such as video recording, etc., etc. Number 4, establish victims ombudsman. Ombudsman, he will look after all these things, the victims' plight, etc. Number 5, legislate to produce a victim's code of practice, setting out what protection and practical support he needs, etc. Ultimately, the UK module says that each victim is entitled to information about the release and management of the offenders, and their personal data will be provided. The victim's personal data will be provided to the court so that the court will come to their help. This is UK practice. The inquiry is also conducted. Inquiry after the conviction is conducted, that is called as presentation investigation. And in that investigation, they will find out as to how much compensation is to be paid, and that investigation will be done within 5 weeks. In France, they have got they are ahead of UK. In France, they say all those who suffer injuries on account of crime are entitled to become parties to the proceedings. They say they should become parties to the proceedings from the investigation stage itself. This is France module, and compensation, etc., like UK. This is the they may even suggest the questions to the court. Victims can suggest the questions to be put to witnesses produced before the court. They themselves can participate in the court, and they may even suggest the court, you put this question as a court question. That is and they may conduct they will conduct the proceedings if the prosecutor does not show due indulgence. They themselves can continue with the trial. This is France. Now, this Justice Mullivan Committee report. This was in 2003. In 2003, Justice Mullivan Committee had recommended so many factors to the government of India. They have formed a committee to find out the ways and means how to protect the victims, etc. But our entire criminal justice system, in that these victims also, the committee has touched. Then they have said, this is almost on par with the France, this one, but still it is to be adopted by Indian government. Now it includes recommendation of the report includes the victim, and if he is dead, his legal representatives shall have right to be pleaded as a party in every criminal proceedings where the offence is punishable with 7 years imprisonment or more. They said you need not include him in the investigation process, but he may be included as a party to criminal process in serious or heinous crimes of more than 7 years punishment. And in select cases, the government and this right of inclusion in the case may extend even to the voluntary organizations. Suppose if the voluntary organizations want to include themselves, include themselves in criminal case, they can also be. Suppose if a girl is subjected to rape, then the voluntary organizations may also themselves come and sue to increase. That was the recommendation made by him, made by the committee. Number 2, victim has a right to be represented by an advocate of his choice, and advocate shall be provided at the cost of the state if the victim is not in a position to afford a lawyer. Just like the public prosecutor, just like that, you can replace the public prosecutor by an advocate of the choice of the victim at the cost of the state. Number 3, victim's right to participate in the criminal trial shall inter alia include the right to provide evidence, to put questions to the witnesses with the leave of the court, and to be informed of the status of the investigation, and to move the court to ensure proper investigation, to be heard on the issues relating to bail, withdrawal of the prosecution, to advance arguments after the prosecutor has submitted his arguments, etc. Number 4, the victim has a right to prefer appeal. This is accepted, and now appeal provision is there. And number 5, legal services should include psychiatric and medical help, interim compensation, and protection against secondary victimization. The secondary victimization is very important. Once a victim again becomes, there are chances of again becoming victim once again. Whenever a victim is there of rape cases or sexual offences, she may again become a victim. So how to prevent that? That is the protection the committee wanted. Then lastly, they said law for victim compensation to be made by Parliament, which will provide prevention. This they have already adopted. So certain factors are now taken care of, but certain of the factors the government of India did not choose to accept. In nowadays, number of cases, the compensation is being paid. It may go now. I told that ISRO case up to 50 lakhs they have imposed. Up to 50 lakhs they have imposed, and I don't want to elongate all the cases because though I have narrated in my speech that up to 10 lakhs, this has included, that has included, etc. Therefore, friends, ultimately, recently, about 2 weeks back or so, the Supreme Court, in the case of Mallikarjun Kodavali, state of our state case only 2018 SEC, the majority judgment significantly expanded the right of appeal. They have expanded the scope of appeal against the order of acquittal under Section 300 and has done away with the requirement of acquiring leave to appeal, which is needed for prosecution. Now, earlier they wanted to take the leave, but now it is not. It is taken on. Just local has said, speaking to the court, for the court, he has stated that victims must be treated with sensitivity, compassion, and respect. They also must be permitted to access justice because it is sometimes found that the investigating and prosecuting agency do not follow up cases with zeal, which is required. He said that the victim must be heard and due recognition should be given to the victim impact statement. He noted that the importance of rehabilitation and psychological support to the victims. This judgment is extremely important in the climate where there is no legislative will. Now, since the legislature is not coming forward to legislate all these aspects, therefore it will be the duty of the court only to give orders and get them implemented, except that nothing can be done. Dear friends, with this I conclude, and whenever the defense advocates are there, public prosecutors are also officers of the state, and the judicial officers are there. Therefore, friends, don't forget to impose compensation or grant compensation to the victim wherever the victim deserves it, and close this chapter of imposing 5 lakhs, 5,000, 10,000 for murder cases, rape cases, etc. Therefore, friends, with this I conclude, and I thank the organizers of this function for having invited me and giving an opportunity to give this lecture in the memory of my friend, CHENGAPPA. Thank you very much. God bless you. Jai Hind.